to do a serious one.
Yeah.
So joining you live from the World Championship 2023 in Barcelona, the Living Legend podcast.
Yeah.
I got some Arsenal stuff as well, which is interesting.
Ooh. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna take the reins on this one since I was already talking. So
Go.
welcome everybody to another episode of the Living Legends podcast, your weekly podcast for flesh and blood purposes. I will be the host for today. My name is Bill from the Spike Feeders and from the Living Legends podcast. And joining me as always are my two illustrious co-hosts. We'll go reverse alphabetical order and kick it over to Kel. How you doing?
Oh, snap. I'm doing all right. I got some coffee, self-ground coffee. Had a nice bagel this morning, so I'm feeling all right.
Pure Portland
Bagels.
vibes on there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, oddly enough, the bagel that I got is from a Seattle bakery, but still very good. Pacific Northwest, we're all in it together.
Yeah.
Oh, is that still in the same region? Is it? Is it Seattle, Pacific Northwest as well? Is it the
Yeah.
rainy city?
Yeah.
Is that what they call it? Yeah.
It's like
Cascadia, some people call it.
It's pretty much like the most northest west thing, if my geography is correct, for America. I guess other than Alaska.
Pretty darn
let's be real.
close for the continental U.S. Yeah, because then you just get up to British Columbia in Canada, which a lot of us folks from the Pacific Northwest also consider British Columbia kind of part of it too. So all of the whole Cascadia vibes up into British Columbia, into Vancouver, and even into like Victoria and stuff. We'll similar-ish in a lot of ways, starting with basically like Eugene and Portland here in Oregon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And over to a bloke who looks like his name should be Eugene but isn't. How you doing?
That is a deep cut. I love it. Absolutely, Eugene from The Walking Dead. Like literally, when that was airing, you wouldn't believe how many people was like, "Oh, it's Eugene," taking the piss. Like I used to love it. I used to own it. But yeah, speaking of British Columbia, that's me. I'm Az from Go Again Gaming. I am the
like
British
that.
man here. Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? But yeah, so welcome back to everybody, and should be a fairly sort of loose one. There isn't too much since the last episode. A couple of spoilers that we haven't sort of touched on yet, but yeah, should be fun to hang out, and we're going to go through some comments again as well. So yeah, keep those coming in, and we should probably say as well, people that are listening to this, make sure you go and subscribe on the new YouTube channel when you can.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at about 350 odd now, I think, which is great for the first few weeks, which is nice.
Yeah,
I did notice
good numbers.
we've got more views than subscribers, so I know some of y'all are either watching this twice, which first of all, thank you, or you're not subscribing. So you should be like subscribing, because like YouTube likes arbitrary numbers, and 1,000 is a good arbitrary number. So help us get to 1,000. Also, we did randomly promise that we're going to be doing like a UPF thing at 500, I guess. So there's that too.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Yeah, so just touched on the last episode. Are we Team Lightning or are we Team Earth? We obviously answered that question. But yeah, 871 views on that, and obviously we've got 55 subscribers. So yeah, if the other 400 people, some of them might be duplicates or clicked on it multiple times for whatever reason. For everybody that's not subscribed, if you could go do that, that would be fantastic. That'd be great.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, should be fun, as it always is.
Yeah, but for those of you who are watching and listening, thank you as always. And yeah, like we kind of mentioned, there's not a ton of like big information for us to talk about since last week. There are, from my count, 5 spoiler cards for us to talk about. And I guess a little bit of we kind of touched on it last week, but when we were talking about Acilio and talking about the sigils, there is something that somebody noted that there's the one sigil that basically has ward, but only for arcane damage. In non-arcane damage matchups, that just stays in play forever, and it just makes your staff free, which is like not irrelevant. So thank you for pointing that out. I think we'll probably be looking at that comment in just a little bit here.
Yeah.
But yeah, just wanted to add that on because I did see that comment and I was like, oh yeah, that is how that works.
Yeah. But as is the nature of this podcast, we go through these cards and we don't necessarily know all the interactions because not all of us play these heroes and we haven't even touched Rosetta yet, so it's hard to sort of put those pieces together sometimes. But luckily, the viewers can, and we will read out the comments in a bit. But speaking of comments, you just want to go through these and maybe just go off on some riffs based on what people have said so far?
Yeah, let's do it up.
Great. So first of all, the top of the list here is Go Again Gaming. I don't know who the fuck that is. Saying thanks for all the comments and support on the new channel. Please subscribe if you're viewing on YouTube. So cheers, Go Again Gaming, for that. Next, we've got Playtime TCG saying, I love the way you guys just roll through the glitches. You can't stop living legend. So we had a few glitches last week, didn't we?
It's honestly, it's a part of just working broadcasts, and I've worked enough live broadcasts to just roll with whatever is going, and I just do what I do. Anytime anything goes wrong during coverage or any other thing, you just kind of go with it. Even though it's technically not live, it's just recorded. I still treat it as such. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be fair, we haven't had too many technical glitches like over the God knows how long we've been doing this. So, but the last couple of weeks have been a little bit here and there. So, but yeah, we are just carrying on with it as we always do. Tam Killer Blam is saying, never thought I would hear Kel say he would play Guardian.
Yeah.
This is when we're talking about Thor and Lightning Guardian. He was like, yeah, sign me up for that.
So, to be fair, I have played Guardian before, but it's always in Blitz. So, like, for example, Valda. In fact, I do believe the Shuffle Up and Play video that I was on Tulare Community College, I was playing Valda. Even though I did also build Prof's mech deck that he then tried to use to kill me. So hey, if you haven't seen that, go watch it.
Yeah.
If you want to see me play Guardian. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And they go on to say, here's hoping that Legend Story Studios will make a Lightning Guardian happen. Yeah, it's quite a polarity thing, isn't it? Lightning Guardian, Lightning you normally sort of associate with being quick and fast, and Guardian you're like, oh, this is a big old shield old man bloke. So seeing those two together could be quite hilarious. Lightning Guardian, but who knows?
Yeah.
Well,
I think it would be kind of neat to play into, not necessarily the go fast, because it would be like go slow but as fast as possible. I think it would be interesting to play into like the idea of sort of like aftershocks, where it's like you hit something and it deals kind of like light it up, that sort of effect where it's like deal damage to like deal like either ping damage or whatever on hit. I think that would be an interesting way of exploring if Lightning Guardian were to exist. But yeah, like, you know, you're playing a 9-cost attack and it has go again, and you're like, ooh wee. I'm so excited to do something else, I think.
So I immediately thought of, shout out to anyone who's seen Full Metal Alchemist, but I thought of Sloth. So Sloth is one of the 7 deadly sins. All of the homunculi are based off of one of the sins. And Sloth is this really, really huge dude, but he's also the fastest. Like, he's super insanely fast, but he can't stop. Like, he just goes in a straight line and he can't pivot or turn, so he's just like lightning speed. I don't know, that could be really cool. Just like a massive, like a railgun kind of dude. Also, I would like to see more of the non-traditional or non-thought of like pairings and archetypes, you know? Kind of like that. And like, people have always asked for like a shadow mech, and we technically got a shadow mech, but you know, it'd be cool to see some other like weird combinations of stuff. You know, like a light rune blade or whatever.
Yeah. I'm waiting for specifically when you're able to partner 2 heroes together. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'm waiting to be able to partner 2 heroes together so that I can play Datadoll and Chain in Blitz.
Oh my god.
Because that's fair. That's super fair.
So like a year or 2 ago, Ian and I were workshopping our own like just custom format, and one of them was like a tag team format where we took rules from like tag team wrestling, and so you could only technically use one of your heroes at a time, but you could kind of like tag them in and out, and that sounds like great for that, you know?
Yeah,
tag team.
That's another thing as well that Flesh and Blood is missing, that Magic has, and that is a fan-made format that's really popped off. Obviously, Commander was, I don't know how it was incepted. Was it
Judges?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just
Sheldon.
a bunch of judges and Sheldon Menery. Yeah.
who was also a judge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's basically it was like a judge format that judges played like after events and during events and stuff, and it just kind of like took off from there. I remember kind of like
play silly cards.
well, yeah, I remember getting into Commander a long time ago, like first Ravnica, I think, because I had just heard about it and it was called EDH, and I built an Una Queen of the Fae kind of like a combo deck, because all you need is infinite mana, and then you can just kill everyone, can just mill everyone out. Yeah. So
Nice.
I mean, Flesh and Blood has had community formats that have some degree of popularity, but nothing has really took off, and it's I don't know, it's interesting. We'll see where it goes. A lot of people who like have tried these formats are like, oh, it's not as competitive as I want them to be, because I want Flesh and Blood to be the competitive game. That's a lot of the criticism I've seen from like people trying UPF.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, we'll see.
It's kind of awkward, I will say, specifically within just the framework that Flesh and Blood allows. The game is extremely tuned to attack one person, to be like, we are attacking each other 1v1. So while UPF sounds like a great idea, in that it gets, more people playing per pod, it can be a little bit more casual because there's it's kind of self-select or self-balancing is usually the term I use for it. Like if somebody in a 4-player game starts turn 1 land Soul Ring, then the other 3 players are instead not focused amongst each other. They're like, okay, well, this guy's off to a better start, so let's focus some stuff on him, them. And it sort of self balances that way, but with specifically Flesh and Blood, a lot of the decks and a lot of the heroes are like, okay, I'm going to attack one singular person for 20 damage, and no one can do anything about it. Nobody can help.
Yeah.
So it can be tough to have that level of self balancing. And the framework of the game itself just kind of lends itself more to a competitive game and to a competitive, like there's, I think one of the things that contributes to that is the card pool isn't really like big enough to have a critical mass of cards that are like sort of inherently bad, or like, because with Commander, it used to just be 7 mana bad spells. You just play all these things that are way too slow for the game itself.
And now those bad spells are like $50 because they were reprinted once.
Every single one.
Like Expropriate and all this crap. There's like 9-drop spells that win you the game in Commander that no one wanted in competitive formats, but they're like $50 now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but like, yeah, it's kind of weird for specifically Flesh and Blood. Having competitive formats seems to be kind of inherent.
So thinking about it and looking at other card games, you can look at a lot of different card games. Magic's one of them that did this before Commander, and Shadowverse Evolve is another one that arguably has a smaller card pool than Flesh and Blood. But you can tell that the game devs didn't really have any of that in mind when designing cards. But at least Magic game designers and like Shadowverse game designers kind of have that as a possibility, because they make cards that say each opposing hero, all heroes, all players, that kind of stuff. And so like for Shadowverse, for example, there's cards that were printed well before their Glory Finder multiplayer format that was just like each opposing hero or each opposing player discards a card, or each opposing player takes a damage or whatever. They just kind of made that just cuz. And I feel like Magic did that too. Like, there's a lot of early Magic cards way before Commander that were just like, every player does this, And I feel like Flesh and Blood doesn't do that very much. Like, there's some times where they do that, but it's like really rare, It's not like every set kind of deal. Like, you can kind of count the number of times they've done that. And especially in terms of damage, it's very rare. It's like outside of Wizard, it's like the one or the couple cards they printed in the Around the Table product. Yeah,
and that's where it does work. It does work in the Round the Table product because it's a self-contained bunch of decks that are designed to play together.
Yeah,
and it does work. In that environment. You've got a lot more.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, as you say, you got a lot more. Well, not synergies, but design space for these 4 heroes specifically to play outside. Out of the box together.
Yeah.
You've got, a hero that can block for somebody else. You've got someone that buffs everybody else. You've got, all that sort of stuff going on.
That's
kind
of what I was getting at, in that, like, Flesh and Blood doesn't feel like they designed for this kind of stuff unless they're specifically trying to design for this kind of stuff. They don't just kind of like pepper it in like these other card games do, where that, once a format comes out, then you have like this backlog of a bunch of cards. You're like, oh, this card's sweet. I could put this in, I could put my Warp World in my Commander deck or whatever, or my Dark Angel Olivia in my Glory Finder deck or whatever. They just kind of like bake it in naturally. Where Flesh and Blood, it's like you get a couple, but not a ton. Like you have like, this round's on me, and then that kind of stuff, but or like Warmonger's Diplomacy. But I don't think they were designed with that intent. I think they're more designed for like each player, meaning you and me, not each player meaning you, me, and all the other players in this UPF game.
I think that's probably one of the reasons why I'm most excited for the, maybe now shelved, just because we haven't heard about it for a long time, PvE, because that is a way to get multiple people playing the game in the competitive way that it's sort of designed to be, without like the feeling sometimes that UPF can have of like one person kind of getting piled on because they don't have enough block or they whatever. Like with Magic, at least there are a couple of turns where everybody can sort of build up to something, whereas with Flesh and Blood, you're like right out the gates at 100%. You're like, okay, I'm attacking you now.
Exactly.
So being able to do that against like an arch enemy, a PvE style opponent, I think is much more collaborative, obviously. But I think it also leads to fewer feel bads, because the person that you're ganging up on is not a person. It is a game object. So I think obviously it depends on what that looks like, but to me it feels like it could be really good as like a 3v1 style, you're fighting the board game type thing. I think that would probably do quite well as like a casual-ish thing, because then the other two people could make up for the weaknesses of the third if one person didn't have like all the cards or a really strong deck or anything like that. You can sort of supplement each other.
Yeah, the whole PvE thing, I don't really want to get too much into PvE because it's a whole topic, but like I'm super curious to see if they follow through on this and how big it's going to be, because like a lot of people have been, and myself included, have been like, oh, this is going to be really huge for the game. And I still think it could be, but then I think about like the success of PvE products in other TCGs, because this is not a unique thing, right? It was in L5R, it was in the World of Warcraft trading card game, it's in Keyforge right now, because Keyforge came back and now they have the PvE thing, and largely the response has been, this is fun, okay, we're moving on. That's literally been the response in every single game. So I'm really curious to see like how it transpires for Flesh and Blood in particular, and then like how it goes. Because Flesh and Blood's doing a lot of different things in the industry, so I don't know. I think it could be like a big thing for him, or it could follow these other games. I don't know. Like, it's very interesting, and I think me and almost every other player, everyone who watches this podcast probably really wants to see PvE. So, yeah,
just tough, isn't it? Because they've clearly got, and we asked this question to James when we had him on, but they've clearly got their target market. They know exactly what they want to be and what they want to focus on.
Yeah.
I think one of the only ways that Flesh and Blood could expand into other audiences is through other things that's not PvE. Because I think if you want to play a cooperative game, you just go play a board game or something. You go play Pandemic or whatever.
I mean,
if they expanded into books and TV shows, etc., that expands the actual IP itself, then you'll probably get people interested in the world and therefore the game. But I don't think you should be. I think that's why they just left it on the back burner, because they want to focus on what they are actually good at.
Yeah, I think that's a whole other discussion too, because I think there's a lot of things they could do to, but I don't necessarily think I know if they want to do them, because like, yeah, that's true. You could span the IP, just make it more brand recognizable, and then also lowering the cost of entry also would help a lot, like a lot. Because I recently did a post on Twitter about Duel Masters, And every time I bring up Duel Masters, there's always someone, and there's probably gonna be someone in the comments of this video too. They're like, Duel Masters still exists? Yes, Duel Masters still exists in Japan only, and it's crazy popular. It's so popular that the YouTubers for Duel Masters get more views than Pokemon in Japan. Like, that's how popular it is. It gets more views than Pokemon in Japan. And Duel Masters has $5 decks, $5 competitive starter decks. I picked up one when I was in Japan, and it's $5. And so that's how people get into the game, because it's technically 500 yen, so it's like $3 and some change. But it's like less than a drink. It's less than the coffee that I have here. And one of the YouTubers took that deck to a competitive event and got second place, or he won it or something. He got really, really high. So it's like $5, pretty easy to get into the game with $5. So I think Vanguard did this too, in 2020, 2021 with $5 starter decks. So that's one thing. Brand recognition, super low cost of entry. Both of those things would help tremendously. But I don't know if I want to do those things. As you said, maybe they just want to focus on what they got going.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next with regards to that, and how they sort of keep their sort of casual player base as such that aren't going to these things all the time. And it's an ongoing question that we'll see what happens with. But all of that discussion came from the Tam Blam comment saying, Kel should play Guardian. Well, he has in the UPF, and the UPF needs to be potentially a different game, and blah 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 blah. That's where we ended up.
Cheers, Tam. She's like a regular commenter, on the podcast. So yeah,
good stuff. Glad you're enjoying the content. Thanks for the comments. Amida 2012. Amida. This is the gentleman that you played on Prism, which is now available to go and see.
Oh, God.
It means nothing, by the way.
Buckle up. It's like an hour and some odd minutes. It's a long one.
That was a crazy game. I thought it was going to end really quickly, and then he just managed to stabilize on 3 life. What the hell?
Turns out running into multiple Arclight Sentinels, and then all of your D reacts on the perfect turns where I have my reacts tends to be pretty good.
Pretty good. This is David, who you played against. Great, nice guy from Austria.
Very nice.
Looking slick. Nice to see you folks on a new channel. So I'm sure he's referring to the new Borders. And obviously there's a new channel as well. And following on from that, J1 Nichuka says, I like how Az is using his favourite frame for his favourite card, Red in the Ledger. I think this is a joke.
Dunked.
Because we all know that Red in the Ledger's frame changed in the Armory deck. Generic range.
The most accessible version of Red in the Ledger is now that frame, and is now probably going to be that frame going forward. So technically not an untrue comment.
Exactly. So, I'm enjoying both ranges at the moment, both legal ranges, Riptide and Azalea. So, I thought that, as much as I love the pits, I love ranges in general. So I think that was just more fitting, really, going forward. But we'll see what new ranges come out. Then they go on to say, sorry, what was you going to say? Oh, I can carry on then.
Oh, I was just going to say, if anyone wants to play Blitz, I got Lexi still. She's still viable in Blitz.
Oh, yeah. Same person goes on to say, following the cleric stuff, whenever it gets released, it will most likely be UPF or PvE, only like the Bard, stuff like whenever hero gains life. So, I know. We spoke about cleric briefly last time.
Yeah.
Definitely seems like a PvE multiplayer hero, because clerics in most parties in Dungeons and Dragons or RPGs want to heal everybody else.
The interesting thing about that is, I think that's true. I think that makes sense, and I think could be how they go, but just kind of thinking about the design of Flesh and Blood, they definitely, I don't think they had PvE in mind when they made the lore book, because they made the lore book before the first set came out, and they probably were definitely weren't thinking about PvE before they even launched their first set. So that means that they had some idea of what the class might look like as a competitive 1v1 class, right? So even if it ends up being, a PvE only thing, I would still be very curious to know what they had in mind for a 1v1 cleric.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Like maybe something like lifelink or something like that, because there was a card, wasn't there? There was an angel that had lifelink.
Yeah.
Yes.
In Dynasty.
It's the weird angel.
Soraya.
Yeah.
Which one? Yeah.
It's the weird one that like flips over.
The one that transforms from a spectral shield, whereas none of the other angels did that, right? I think. Anyway.
Yeah, it uses a spectral shield as material.
That's
I think
it.
that was the, it was the legendary.
It was a legendary.
Yeah.
The only things I remember were one, Olivia was the one to spoil it. Two,
Yeah, that's it.
she was asking me the value of it, and I was like, yo, I'm pretty sure the Marvel version is probably going to be worth a lot. And three, yeah, it ended up being worth a lot for a little while at least. That's all I remember because like it was like not played really.
Illusionist.
Invoke Soraya.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an invoke, kind of like the dragon invoke.
Yeah.
Invocations.
Yeah, transform target spectral shield you control into Soraya Arcane Herald.
Oh yeah, and they got the name wrong.
Soraya deals damage. Yeah.
Because like one side says Arcane Herald, the other side does not. It's like a different name.
Yeah, it's Soraya Archangel of Knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I like how I remember all of the bits of trivia about it, but not the actual card effect.
Yeah, it's funny because like see this happen. You never see this go off either. Like prisms don't want to use it because obviously doesn't come in from a figment. It comes in from a spectral shield, so it's less reliable. But saying that, on the League That Means Nothing season 1, Will Bradshaw playing Prism did actually manage to flip one of these into a Soraya, and he was gaining life from it hitting, which was interesting to see. For the first
it's also
time.
like an ally too, isn't it? It's not like it's like an actual ally like the demons. Like it just has 4 health and then you have to kill it, right? Like you have to deal 4 damage to it.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh no, it does have ward as well.
Oh, it does have ward. Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it has life and ward. Do the other angels have life? They must do. Maybe
I think they just have ward, maybe.
Oh, no, they do have life. They just got ward as well. That's bizarre.
Okay.
Never really took notice of that because if they get hit, they just die. So why would they need life?
I can see some corner cases for that, honestly, because if you have like 5 angels out and you want to kill one specifically, then that way you can target one angel rather than just being like, oh, I hit you for whatever, and then the person controlling the angel gets to choose what order their wards pop. So like,
yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so you can still target the angel, and if it hits, they die. Yeah, I guess.
And you can't block for it either. So if you attack for the angels, you can't block for it, if I remember right. Like, same with the dragons and the demons and stuff.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you would just have, if it gets attacked, it just is getting attacked, as far as I know.
Yeah.
You can't really do much about it.
But yeah, Bound Buns 84 says Red Zone. Not sure whether this is a typo. Red Zone Rogan nailed it.
I don't know.
Rogan.
I don't know if offense was meant, but it was taken. It was taken.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, this person says the idea of a dual mode card that can give contract or give go again or maybe buff it. So they're referring to when we spoke about what Arachne could use
contracts,
as a way to sort of give their cards sort of contract or go again, etc. Yeah, we'll see where Arachne goes. Brian did say that he wants to release a set which was Oops all Arachnes in the keynote. So maybe there is a all assassin set coming, or something that Brian wants to get through the net. But we'll see. Big Boss Book Club says whoever put pineapple on a pizza should be given an MBE in the New Year's honors list. Absolute hero.
Agree.
Also, hell yeah.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
Fully agree. Pineapple is one of my favorite things. It's like pineapple and onion are like my 2 favorite pizza toppings. I like a lot.
For me, it's got to be like pineapple and garlic. I love garlic.
Oh, garlic is a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Absolutely. Gun to Mine is saying Ranger Assassin Illusionist Borders. Nice. Will be neat to see this same treatment for future guest spots. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Exactly, yeah. So if we have guests again, which I'm sure we probably will do, they will have to have a board that that sort of represents them with regards to their favorite class.
You're like Brute for Ian. Yeah.
Exactly. Ellie Crusher goes on to say, I've taken a small break from Flesh and Blood, partly because of college starting up again, but also because of the investment that it will be for me to buy in. However, it hasn't stopped me from listening to the pod every week and getting so hyped over Flesh and Blood and everything that encompasses the game. It's awesome to hear you folks talk about something that I've missed, and I cannot wait for the Rosetta pre-release. Let's go Florian and Verdance to see if it is the final nail in the coffin before I ruin my bank account.
$5 starter decks, like I said. But yeah, I'm down Florian as well. Team Florian. Team Goth
Florian
Boyfriend.
Very cool.
Yeah, you guys were very much Team Earth last week, weren't you? So
Yeah.
you can definitely relate to Ellie Crusher's comment here. Hank from Godwin Reserve saying, I cannot believe how much I enjoy Jarl yapping just about anything. Thanks, guys. Just trying to bring awareness to my boy Viserai before he's overshadowed with all of this earth and lightning nonsense. Now, this could be interesting. This could be a good time to get your Viserai cards. I know I have just done that. So all my Viserai and Runeblade cards I was missing, I recently bought because I knew that there's a Runeblade set coming out. And I do like Viserai. He's one of my first heroes that I really played, and I do like Runeblade, and I'm definitely going to like Aurora, just by the aesthetic alone. So I just thought I'm going to get all the cards. I wish there was a build which used your spoiler card, Bill, Cryptic Crossing, because that card's sick.
Yeah, that card is sick.
It's really good. And I just love the other cards like Consuming Violation and Reek of Corruption. Other Runeblade cards that hit when they hit, if you've done sort of prerequisites, they make your opponent discard. So I think there is a build or something there, but I just don't know whether it's very good or people have really explored it. I'm sure people have. There's better players out there than us, but I just think that's quite a cool way for a Runeblade to go, is playing these big attacks that when they hit you discard cards. Because I think they're probably one of the best ones to do it, because they've got 3 different cards. They've got Cryptic Crossing, Reek of Corruption, and Consuming Violation on their own, which if they hit, you discard, depending on if you've dealt arcane damage or created auras or something. And then Cryptic Crossing is you just have to pitch a non-attack and attack, and then it comes in. If it hits, they discard and you draw. So yeah, just some little cards and interactions in the Runeblade class that I really like. So I picked up all of those. My
LLP finance corner of the day is, if you are interested in Runeblade, go make sure you have a full playset of Mordred Tide. I went and looked, and it's only like $3 to $5 on TCG Player. So you should probably go get your full playset of Mordred Tides, because I think that card is insane, and it is also going to just be better in decks like Florian. And if Florian becomes like really, really good, this card's going to spike quite a bit. Also Spellbound Creepers, because that's busted, but I don't know how much that one is right now. Look it up. Spellbound.
Yeah, that's one thing I do need to get.
Creepers.
Well, I think Grasp is as expensive as it used to be. I don't care if I get a white border one. I think it's like maybe $70. Like that.
Creepers is like 120 minimum for like rainbow foil. It's
always been very expensive.
Might have missed the boat on that one.
I'll just play Mage Master Boots the whole way.
But it doesn't let you cheat. It doesn't let you cheat like Mage Master or like Spellbound Creepers does. Grasp is like $60. It's still kind of expensive for just a card, but you only need one. And if you want to really play this deck for a long time, it's probably a good one to get.
I don't even know what Spellbound Creepers does. I've never read that card before, so.
You have to. I don't know.
It lets you play things when you shouldn't be able to play them. That's what it does, basically. If you
just to cheat the game.
And if you do it at the right time, it lets you do that like multiple turns in a row without actually suffering any negative consequences. It's really good.
Off the top of my head, I think you pay 1 to give a non-attack action card instant speed capabilities, but you have to keep it around. You have to deal arcane damage based on the amount of counters you have on it.
Yes,
it sounds stupid trying to explain what it does, but it does. It's something like that.
I think
to dispel the meme If I recall, I'm not looking at it right now. In fact, I'm actually looking at the card Copper Gnomes from Urza's Saga for a completely unrelated reason.
Just to refresh your memory.
Copper Gnomes.
I think what Spellbound Creepers reads, this is to the best of my ability, it's pay a resource, put a bind counter on Spellbound Creepers. The next non-attack action you play this turn can be played as though it were an instant. And then at the end of each... At the end of your turn?
I think it's only your turn.
I think it's at the end of your turn, you have to destroy it unless you've dealt damage equal to or greater than the number of bind counters on Spellbound Creepers, and it also has Blade Break 1.
Very good. Very good, sir.
Just to dispel the meme that I've been perpetuating it because I say it every time the card comes up.
You
but
missed
yeah,
out
I do know
one
what it does.
piece of text, sir.
Oh, is it that I swear that I said it, but I probably didn't, that you have to have attacked or blocked with an attack action card this turn in order to activate the effect. Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah. So
That's the one.
Yep.
what makes it really good is you can do it 2 turns in a row because the it only goes away. It only checks at the end of your turn, so you can activate this. Because by the way, this is a once per turn instant. It's not an action, so you can do this on your opponent's turn, and then you can do it again on your turn. So it's really good. And then also, in case you don't know, if you play a non-attack action at instant speed that has go again, you still get the action point from the go again.
Yes.
So
which is why it's
really
so
good.
insanely good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's real good. It's busted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good. But I've seen it mainly for like flashing out, read the runes, and still carrying on with your turn. That sort of nonsense. But yeah, it's a very, very good card. So I imagine there will be other equipment pieces in slot for the Lightning Runeblade-esque hero in this set. You know, I reckon there will be Aurora-based equipment, but if you just want to pick up your generic Runeblade stuff, it will be now a good time to do so, I think, like Kel said. So do that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how good Mordred will be in Aurora, but it's probably super cracked in Florian, who cares about making tokens, and that one literally like adds extra rune chants every time you make a rune chant. So,
well, yeah, exactly. There's a new rune chant token, as we've all seen and described already. You know, so rune chants aren't going to be a big thing in this set. So Mordred Tide definitely one you should go and get. But yeah, Hank's doing really well in the league that means nothing at the moment. So go and check out his games when you can. He's got a good little list going on there. So just thought I'd shout that out again. Gun to Mine 1130 is saying, I've got another comment here from the same person. Bread plus butter plus chocolate sprinkles. That's the comment.
Yeah. That is also fairy bread if I'm understanding his comment correctly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or their comment.
Yeah. So love the new layout. This is coming from Fabled Hero NZ. This is Lynette. So thanks for continuing to listen and comment on the videos, Lynette. It's we've known you for ages now. The original Azalea cosplayer from New Zealand. Good stuff. Who's also playing in the league that means nothing as well, playing Azalea, obviously, on the Sandscar Great Bow list, which is nice to see. Anyway, She says, love the new layout. I'm super excited for Aurora. Lightning seems like my jam. Absolutely. You and me both there. I may even try Wizard, which I never thought I would ever say. Amped for Rosetta. Nice little pun there as well. Amped for Rosetta. Brilliant. Love to see it. Yeah, I'm amped as well. I can't wait. It's going to be. I thought Olympia would be a hero that I build, but I never got around to it. But I definitely will be doing building, I should say, not doing Aurora. So yeah, it'll be good to build another hero at last. But yeah, Runeblaze is one of my favorites. RSAL 137 says Team Lightning. Always love listening to the podcast. So yeah, good to see RSAL 137 being on Team Lightning also. Respect.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, thanks for listening to the podcast. Thanks for the comment. So we're just going to keep going down. We might as well just keep going down these for now until morale improves. Rex Toledo 4944 saying, regarding what Kel said about the adjustment of Florian's ability in young and adult versions, Verdansk is also adjusted.
Yes.
See, LSS considers that they need to adjust the ability of heroes, so it's up to scale with CC and or Blitz.
Yeah, I forgot about Verdance, but you know, out of sight, out of mind, right?
Yeah.
I just not think about the wizards.
What was her one then? Is it the same thing? Is it? Do you have to have banished 8 Earth cards? Is it the same thing?
I think so. Here, let me look. I have the page up right now.
I think it must be the same thing then.
Ooh, Verdance. Verdance. Yeah, it's if there are 8 or more Earth cards for the adult, and 4 or more Earth cards for the young version, which is the exact same. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, Blitz is a dead format," or Blitz, nobody cares about it, etc. But they clearly do care about it to a certain degree if they are still adjusting these things and having young heroes and all of this. So I wouldn't give up on that format just yet. I think it's just going to get better as new heroes get put into it. But they're clearly thinking of these things, aren't they, as they print the life totals and adjust it.
It's a regional thing too, like.
Yeah. Exactly.
In some areas, Blitz is like the format that people play. Like in Japan, that's like the main format that people play in Japan.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite format for Flesh and Blood. So I don't know. Some people still like it. And I know like other content creators, like I know DM Armada also really likes Blitz. So there's a few of us out here who appreciate Blitz. Though I'm still of mind. I liked it when there was no sideboard, but they.
Yeah.
They made it more like CC, and then also people stopped playing it, so I don't know.
Yeah. So Canadian sized is saying, "Lol, I'm not sure what Canadian sized is either." I like the new overlays. Feels more personable for each of you. One day, so the tech gremlins might get it figured out. Canadian sized. Not sure what Canadian sized is either, but there we go.
Oh yeah, because I think you'd read out a comment last week and I was flabbergasted.
Well, there was a commenter named Canadian size, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, same person.
Yeah, I think this is the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
So make sure you get your comments in. Love to read them out. Love to see repeat people that are viewing doing comments as well. So make sure you do that more often. That's great stuff. Bolton's Blade is saying illusionists have access to so many boots. Guardians essentially have one. Could that be a piece of lore? Could that be a piece of lore since Guardian has such a hard time playing into illusionists? Maybe illusionists have some massive wards around the really good Guardian boots, which will finally be broken with the Guardian Master Pack.
Yes. So the lore is that illusionists are sneakerheads, but they're also kind of like gatekeepy, and they gatekeep all the Guardians out from their sneakerhead hobbies, and so the Guardians just go and they just lift weights instead.
I see.
Yeah. I mean, for the longest time, for those old Flesh and Blood players here, there was some really, really good memes. I personally made one of them that was memes about Guardians and boots, and one of them was the the meme where the top, it's like 4 panels, and the top panel has the dude who's like, ugh. And then the second panel on the bottom, he's like, yeah. So the top panel was just like armored boots. So I superimposed Bravo's head onto the dude, by the way. So it's Bravo going, ugh, until like metal boots, just like a picture of actual metal greaves. And then the second panel where he's like, yeah, is red sparkling cowboy boots. And he's like, yeah. Because for the longest time, the Guardian boots of choice were Mage Master boots, which are sparkly red cowboy boots. So that was the thing for the first 4 years of Flesh and Blood. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, because they didn't have anything, did they?
No, the Brevant deck from the Around the Table was like the first armored Guardian boots, right?
Civic Steps, yeah. Wow.
Yep. So sparkly red cowboy boots was like the thing for a very long time.
Did they even use Mage Master boots? Maybe for a Tome of Fyendal or something?
Yeah, you use Tome of Fyendal so you can draw your cards, gain some life. That's Guardian. Bravo used to run Tome. Yeah.
Good old days. Lunar Eclipse is saying Team Earth, baby, all about Flower Mommy and the new goth boyfriend, as we've described already.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Red Bomber 3K. I love a good pepperoni, cream cheese, and pineapple pizza.
Sure.
Great show as always, guys.
Yeah, I'm in.
Great show as always.
Pepperoni and pineapple is very good, by the way. The traditional Hawaiian where they use the Canadian bacon or just the ham or whatever you want to call it, it's fine, but I prefer the pineapple with the pepperoni because the spiciness and the sweetness, they work really well.
Yep. No, that's exactly what I was going to say because Yeah, the ham and pineapple is like fine. I do really like ham and pineapple, but pepperoni and pineapple, ever since I tried it for the first time, it is simply superior.
Yep.
For exactly the reason that Kel said.
Yep. Maybe if you want to make it a little saltier, you can actually add like actual bacon on top of it too, if you want a little bit of saltiness. But yeah, it's good.
Sounds good.
Hell yeah.
Just continuing down here, a few more comments, and then we can crack on with some of the spoilers, etc.
Yeah.
JG Benji is saying, JG Benji 7979 is saying, haven't watched the episode yet, but I'm going to go ahead and say Team Earth. So yeah, Team Earth. It seems to be a slam dunk at the moment. Florian and Verdance. So should be interesting to see what people's what people's responses are to the gameplay of those heroes when they come out, when we see the full cards. Anathos gains life, aka Andrew, I know who this is, saying, "Hi Kel, I gain life." So
hello. I mean,
so yeah.
I thought about this comment and I thought about the name, and technically, yes, Anathos can technically gain you life if you're attacking with Anathos and your opponent blocks with cards that would have otherwise dealt you damage. That is a roundabout way of gaining life. So I agree.
Yeah.
Well, and also, if you look at it from a more abstract point of view, if you lower your opponent's life total, in a way, you have gained life compared to them.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, you can go.
It's
you can
more
go
of a 4D style.
You can go all the way with that and extrapolate. If you have dealt so much damage to your opponent that they are dead, then you have gained infinite life, and that your life is no longer at stake.
Yeah.
Well, you're still alive, aren't you? So that will gain you life because you're still alive. They're not.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, in a roundabout way, all heroes can gain life, which is nice.
But also Anathos. Also Anathos can.
Anathos. Yeah. So just inanimate objects can also gain life as well. Yeah.
I mean, the Sigil of Solace technically actually gains you life, and it's literally just like a rock in the field. So that's true.
Just a rock.
Yeah, it's just a rock in the field. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, this is a funny comment which I thought was hilarious. Someone timestamped you going,
yeah, I went. Well, it's because I made the I made the oh sound like oh, but I went oh. Yeah.
So funny. I said, make it a notification sound.
It's a good one. It's a real good one.
It's hilarious. Hey, I thought that was hilarious.
That should be motivation to help this channel get monetized, because maybe if we do streams, that can be a notification sound. If anyone subscribes or whatever while we are streaming, it'll make this sound.
That is such a good idea. Yeah. I think this is Lewis on Twitter as well, from Guatemala, I believe. So if that is you, please confirm in the next episode if that is indeed you, Lewis. I think it is though, because your Twitter and your YouTube name are pretty much the same. So I think that's you. Let us know in the next episode. Rogue Noob is saying, I'm neither Team Earth or Team Lightning. I'm Team Wizard. Both wizards seem amazing, and I'm super excited for both.
Oh yeah.
I think I've already talked about this in episodes. I really like wizards in fantasy and sorcerers and that kind of stuff. They tend to be my next favorite archetype after rogues. But for whatever reason, in Flesh and Blood, they just don't vibe with me. But
same so far. Yeah.
But if you like them, more power to you. If you want to, storm kill someone.
Yeah, that's what they've lent themselves to be. That so far is, I'm not playing Flesh and Blood. Really, I'm just going to kill you at instant speed when you've got nothing left to give.
Oh, it's every time I play against Steven, it's like, while I have lethal on the board attacking him for lethal, he will well, I'm going to kill you or I die. That's how it usually works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully Acilio and Verdance will work in a more of a conventional way, with maybe doing a little bit of stuff on your opponent's turn, but not killing them from 20 plus life on their turn is just, I think it's a bit yeah, I don't like playing into it either. But there we go. We'll see how the new Wizards play as we go on. About 99 Ninjas 56 says, I'm 100% Team Earth. And then Ham Man continues, Team Earth. So loads of Team Earths on here.
Earthy. We're very earthy here.
For your flower mommy and your goth boyfriend. Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Huckler is saying, I love the show. Is there a show Discord? I can't find one, but would love to chat with others who love the show. That is another thing we could potentially consider in the future.
Yeah, we don't have an official Discord. I think everyone here has their own Discord. So, like, I have like the Rogues Gallery Discord, and I have a Living Legends like channel specifically in my own Discord, and I know Az has his own Discord, and I'm sure Spike Feeders have a Discord. So like, yeah, I don't know if you guys have Living Legends channels in those Discords, but you know, those are options currently available.
Yeah, nothing specific to Living Legends, but I do have we do have Flesh and Blood servers, both a free one and one that's sort of behind our paywall. Sort of, they serve much the same function to make sure that people aren't actually being paywalled by anything. There's just sort of more additional channels that are a little bit more active and a little bit more specific as well. In our Discord for people who are patrons of the Spike Feeders. But yeah, if you wanted to come into our channel and into the Spike Feeders official Discord, there is a Flesh and Blood channel that you'd be welcome to talk about the Living Legends podcast. And absolutely, anybody who's interested in that, feel free.
Yeah. Go join all of the Discords. I recognize some of these names, by the way, from the Rogues Gallery Discord, like Rogue Noob, who was really into Wizards, is a frequent commenter in the Rogues Gallery Discord. My Discord, it's like a lot of games. Like I have chat channels for like, I think I have like main chat channels for 6 or 7 different games. And then I have like sub channels for a bunch of them, as well as just, if you're into weeb stuff, literally the channel is just called Weeb Stuff. So if you want to post about any figures or anime or whatever, and then board games and tabletop stuff. And my channel's, my Discord's very broad, generally speaking, welcoming of everyone kind of vibes. That's kind of how I wanted it to be. So not so much specific, but join all the Discords. Yeah.
So currently at the moment we just do them for our own channels. So obviously, as you said, Bill, Spike Feeders, Kel, Red Zone Rogue, and obviously I've got one as well, Go Again Gaming. So we've got all our own ones at the moment. So yeah, go and interact with those because they're all pretty active and good fun. We all have Patreons as well. So if you like what we do, then you can by all means support us on those platforms as well, which is always good. I think people that support to people's Patreons are probably the most generous people in the world because they're just literally supporting your passion. Sometimes getting nothing in return, so some people pledge on certain levels where it's just, oh yeah, here's support. I love what you do. I know you do like tokens and stuff, Kel, and that, but some people just pledge because they like you, they like what you do, and you people are the lifeblood of a lot of creators out there. Some creators, if not most, would not survive without that platform. So yeah, if you want to do that, that's also very good as well.
Yep. It's very much appreciated. I do custom tokens every single month for varying games, Flesh and Blood, Grand Archive. But I try to use, I don't try. I literally only use like my own original artwork that I have commissioned. And anyone who knows me knows that I'm very like against like AI artwork. So you can be rest assured that it's all original artwork commissioned from artists, usually TCG artists. Or just artists from like Skeb or Fiverr or something like that. But yeah, I also try to not do a lot of. I usually use my own characters because I don't like doing I don't want to run into a situation where things can get like copyright like infringed. You know. So I've always been careful about that. A lot of these games have been really cool about it up to this point, but I never want to take it for granted. So I always just do my own thing. I never want to run into that situation. So anyway. Yeah.
I'm not sure if you can. No, you can't really see this. You can't really. No, because it's got a blurry background on. You can't really see it. But I've got a little Aurora Aurora fan art thing being done, which is going to be like an embodiment of lightning token, so I can give those to patrons or people that I meet at events.
Was it you or Steven who posted about it on? I think it might have been Steven's also doing that too. DM Armada. I think I saw. Really? I think I saw like a YouTube community post that was a poll, and he's like, "Which one of these 3 arts do you guys like the most?"
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense because embodiment of lightning is going to be a nice little token that you can get a lot of in the next set. So it makes sense that people might be doing custom versions for people that support them on those platforms. So yeah, good idea, I guess. But yeah, that's always good. Anyway, last comment from Raziel's Ghost. So this is the person that pointed out the missed interactions, to which I was pretty sure I did explain that there was some sigils, but maybe I just missed out some key interactions. But I'll read out their comment nonetheless to go through it. So they say, did you guys completely forget Auxilio's weapon was revealed, and it highly synergizes with the sigils, especially the sigil of conductivity against non-arcane damage opponents? This is what you were saying earlier, Bill. So the fact that you play this, I think all of the other sigils will pop at the start of your turn. Whereas this one doesn't, unless you Arcane Shelter trigger it, and that's still a May, isn't it? Is Arcane Shelter a May?
No, I think it's mandatory. Yeah, I think all of the ward stuff is mandatory.
Yeah, but again, as you said earlier as well, Kel, if you don't have a arcane damage opponent, this sigil can just sit there for the rest of the game and just make your Volzar Lightning Rod cost nothing to do its ability.
Yeah,
is that what you were getting at?
Yeah.
So they go on to say his weapon is discounted for 1 for the rest of the game, and additional copies of this card he can simply cycle with his hero ability. So yeah, if you don't need the sigil, you can just discard it once per turn instant to draw a card. You can just cycle it if you want to, and turn that sigil, because it's a lightning card, into something else. So yeah, apparently we skipped over that, which we probably did, to be fair. But luckily this person called it, which is nice.
But we did actually read the weapon. Like, we literally... Yeah, you literally brought it up and read out the weapon before we started talking about the sigils, so...
Yeah,
we did do that.
Exactly, yeah. So, but yeah, there's a couple more spoilers as well now, isn't there? So we can read those out and hopefully get it all correct this time for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's then start with. Let's just go from top down as I have them in our chat here. So the first one we're going to be talking about today is one that has, for better or for worse, sparked a lot of discussion about ninjas and. I was going to say the class in general, but no, it's really just this specific card. We have Gust Wave of the Second Wind. So this is quite obviously going to be an expansion slot card. It's a non-talented ninja attack action. It's a majestic. It's a 0-cost red that attacks for 4 and blocks for 3. And it has combo. If Surging Strike was the last attack this combat chain, this gets go again. So not like a super interesting effect. I don't know that this is like a card that Ninja necessarily needed, but I will say, and this was brought up pretty quickly once this card started getting talked about, that Ninjas were playing Flusterfist just as an option for a 0-cost 4 red. And this technically does more than Flusterfist, because I don't think you ever satisfy the requirement of Flusterfist. But for this, technically, if you have Surging Strike or Be Like Water, naming Surging Strike, then this could be a mid-combat chain attack that leads into other stuff. And it is a Gust Wave for the now freshly limited bonds. So that is another plus over Flusterfist. I don't think this card is extremely exciting, but technically it is better than Flusterfist.
Yeah, yep. So why were people running Flusterfist just because it's a 0 for 4?
Yeah, it's just a 0 for 4 combo card that you can search for with either Katsu or Zen. Just if you have like an extra thing and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to search for something, but I don't have like a specific combo that I can play into or whatever. It just is an extra 4 damage that you can search for. So technically in Katsu, this is like fine, although comboing off of Surging Strike is really awkward because obviously that's the one that costs 2. And then again, Be Like Water, it needs to hit and you need to pay 1. So it's not even necessarily going to happen every time. But yeah, like again, technically it's better than the random Flusterfist that people were running. So you could just swap that out for this. And I think you're going to be totally fine because 90% of the time, at least the times that I've played ninjas, you do use the Flusterfist every now and then, but it is just like, this is the very end of my turn. I have an action point and a way to search for a combo card, hit you. Like, it's not exciting.
Do you think... Oh, go ahead, Az.
I was going to say, but at least this could function earlier on in the combat chain, potentially, rather than Flusterfist. Yeah, there's a possibility that this is actually like a 0 for 4 with Go Again, which is not nothing. So
it is factually not nothing.
So Surging is a 2 for 5, isn't it? Or the red one is.
Yeah, 2 for 5 Go Again.
Yeah.
So you would still have. So if you pitch to blue, you would play Surging Strike, 5 Go Again. Then you play this, which is a 0 for 4 of Go Again. You should have 1 resource floating after this, so you could still do another thing after that, perhaps. So it's not. It could be used as a go slightly wider, but also if you want to, you can 0 for 4 as a combo chain ender as well.
Yeah, because
so more flexible.
Descendant. I'm just looking up Descendant Gust Wave because I think that one is also, it combos off of Surging Strike. Yeah, Surging Strike was the last. So the only thing that this would then combo into, if you wanted to do something cool, is Bonds. I think that's the only thing, because this is named a specific way. Bonds is the one that just says if a card with Gust Wave was the last attack. So it definitely... I mean, it makes sense that they would limit Bonds anyway, because that card is not okay. But knowing that this card was in the pipeline, I think it's like super extra okay that they limited Bonds. Because having access to the full 9 with, more Gust Waves that, obviously it's off of Surging Strike, so it's still not the most exciting thing, but you needed to do that to get the like Descendant Gust Wave line anyway. So it's like fine.
Doesn't make Dishonor any easier, does it? This thing?
No, I think it's the same still. Because you would still have to have a Gust Wave. This is like technically worse than Descendant Gust Wave, and by technically I mean it just like is worse when they're both active. Because with this combo active, this is a 0 for 4 with Go Again. When Descendant Gust Wave is active, at least the red, it's a 0 for 5 with Go Again. That then leads into Bonds and whatever.
Interesting.
So yeah, this is like second fiddle to Descendant Gust Wave, but again, better than Flusterfist.
It's this whole time I'm just thinking about this card and how it reminds me of a lot of other Flesh of Blood cards, and I was like, I wonder. Okay, I'll pose this question: do you guys think this card would be more interesting if stuff like Scar for a Scar didn't exist? Right, like if it wasn't like already available at like common rarity generic 0 for 4 Go Again kind of flavor, would this be more exciting? Like is this a sink below situation, where like blocks 1 more, blocks for 2 or blocks for 3 compared to 1 or for 2, I'm sorry. Blocks for 1 difference. It's also its combo, like Bill said, so you can go like tutor for it with the hero abilities that care about combo. But like, I don't know, it's one of those interesting things where I'm like, well, they printed so many cards that are like 0 for 4 conditional Go Agains, and they printed some like really easy to play ones in the very first set, right? With Scar for a Scar, and then they followed it up with like Ravenous Rabble, which is similar-ish. And I wonder if it's a situation where like how they've mentioned before, like James has even said that, having cards like Sink Below around make designing other cards difficult, just because Sync Below already does it super well and efficiently at generic. If this is like a situation similar to that with Scar for a Scar, I don't know, because like I saw this card and I saw it spoiled and I'm like, interesting. It's just another Scar for a Scar. Blocks 3, which is good. Has a combo like Bill said, which is good. But at the end of the day, like, is this more exciting than what's that Runeblade one with the attractive Runeblade lady on it? It's the 0 for 3, and if you played stuff, it gets like +1, then it gets go again, then it like
Swarming Gloomveil.
Swarming Gloomveil, yeah. So like, yeah, I don't know. Just a thought. It's interesting.
Yeah. So sorry, what do you think, Az?
Well, I think it's just going to be common practice that I think every class might just get like a 0 for 4 conditional go again, perhaps, or something like that. But I'm not a ninja. I'm not going to pretend I'm a ninja. I'm a ninja main or anything. I have no clue how good this is, to be honest. But I just see the other Gust Wave and the other combo cards that fit in with this, and the only difference is the block 3. So I don't know if there's any argument for that. But based on the previous assessment I had, that's pretty much it, really. There's not much else for me to say on it. But what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think if there weren't so many versions of this card that existed already, like Kel was saying, like Scar for a Scar, I think this would be much more exciting. But yeah, the fact that this is not only like it is an expansion slot card, so by virtue of it being an expansion slot card, it is a Majestic. I feel like if this was printed in a main set, this would be a common. I don't see why this would be printed at Majestic in any other situation. The stat line is totally standard, except for, I guess, like Hal was saying, blocking for 1 more. But if you were playing this card, you probably wouldn't play the yellows or the blues. Maybe the blue because it costs 0 and blocks 3, like just for Kodachi purposes. Like,
but 0 block 3 blue.
Yeah, that's like the only additional thing that I could see going for it at common. Although they've also shown that they're not against printing rares as single colors, so this could also just be like a single color rare Flusterfist style card. I don't necessarily see it. I think that there's the possibility that it increases like sub 1% of games where this swaps out for Flusterfist, because there is always that possibility that it becomes a mid-chain attack, and it's like, okay, cool, I attacked for 4 more damage. Like that could happen, whereas Flusterfist basically never. I think it can't have go again because it's like a final. I think it's the last in the chain of attacks. Yeah.
It becomes a 5, doesn't it? If it meets the condition, it becomes 5 instead. I think basically.
I think so. Yeah, Fluster. Let me just.
Yeah, the rarity thing is interesting because like I didn't think about that, but yeah, I kind of agree with Bill. If this was printed in like Crucible of War or something, this would definitely be like a common or rare, like for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Flusterfist is if open the center was the last attack this combat chain. This gets +1 power for each attack that has hit this combat chain. I didn't even know it had that effect.
No,
because I've also never seen open the center be played. So
it's just like all these old combo lines that you never see anything of. Like if head jab was the last attack, open center gets +1, go again and dominate.
Yep.
Like you never see that happen.
Yeah, that card's stone unplayable. It costs 2.
Oh, you guys gotta play more Welcome to Wraith Limited.
Go. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, that was a long-winded discussion of Gust Wave of the second wind. Which is, a good, decent pun. But moving on to a card that is actually like just objectively more interesting and exciting. We have a warrior card. We have Unsheathed. This is another expansion slot card, so it comes in at Majestic. It is another rare another red that costs 0 and blocks for 3. This is a warrior non-attack action. And it reads, your next sword attack this turn gets +3, and when this attacks, if its attack is greater than twice its base, it gets go again. And then this has go again. I, as a person who has played Warrior previously, this card's great. This card's like pretty awesome.
This is sharpened steel with more words. Like,
yeah,
it's really good. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, because sharpened steel costs 0, just buffs for 3.
Yep.
So yeah, this is basically a strict upgrade to sharpened steel.
I think is sharpened steel only swords or any weapon? That might be like the one case where it's like not an actual quote strict upgrade, but I mean,
I think it might be sword. Oh no, yeah, it is your next weapon attack.
So
okay,
like,
so it doesn't like
you could sharpen steel your axe, like your decimator great axe or whatever, but like. Outside of that, like Unsheath is kind of cracked, especially when you're pumping up a saber, which has a base attack of 2, and so you give it the +3, then it just innately gets that go again. It seems real good.
Like Kasai is in the art unsheathing her Centauri sabers, which I think totally makes sense because this just makes it an attack for 5 with go again inherently, which is phenomenal. This also works with Dawnblade. If you have a single counter on it, it gets go again.
Yep.
Just with that, that's great, and like I would say super easy to do in most matchups to get one counter on Dawnblade. And then, this just plays super well with other buffs too, because it's when it attacks. So it wouldn't get it if you buffed it in reactions.
Right.
But yeah, I still think that this card is fantastic. It just like goes in the deck. If people are still playing Sharpened Steel or like some of the worse 0 for 3s, then I think this just goes in.
Yes.
But yeah, what do you think, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. It's just a much better card than Sharpened Steel. That's pretty much it, really. But as you say, I absolutely love Dawnblade. It's one of those cards that you think, oh, this is an absolute classic. So it'll be interesting to see if this is something that will push Warrior a little bit up there because it has been suffering recently. But yeah, I think it's great, and the art is just absolutely phenomenal as well.
Soime always does great art. Not just pretty ladies. Well, there's technically a pretty lady in the art, but it's not. Yeah. The focus is the swords and the atmosphere. But the only things I wanted to note was, as Bill mentioned, you will not get the go again off of reactions, right? So if you pump it afterwards, and then also that it does not innately give Dawnblade go again because it has to be greater. So as Bill also mentioned, you need at least a +1 counter or some other way to have pumped it to get the go again on Dawnblade. But seems correct. Seems really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree. But I think the card is just it goes in Warrior decks. I think Kasai loves it. I think that Dorinthia also loves this card.
Yeah.
Because it also, even though it doesn't work with attack reactions, it does work with other Sharpened Steel type preloads.
Bolton's main weapon has a base attack of 0.
That's interesting.
Raiden Duskbane, because does that works? That works, right? Even 1 is greater than 00 because 00 is just 0. So it's
yes.
So this just gives Duskbane go again no matter what. So you can make your Duskbane go again.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's how that works. It depends on whether or not the rules engine for Flesh and Blood is weird about 0. But I think you're right in that 1 is infinitely greater than 0.
Right. Yeah.
It is infinity times 0, in fact. But yeah, so that is interesting. Giving Raiden just go again on its own, and then also if you satisfy its condition, it's going in for 6 because it gains +3. Yes. I think.
I believe so. Yeah.
So yeah, 6 go again for free. That's kind of good.
Seems pretty good.
But yeah, anyway, so I think that's all we really need to say about that one. Just a really cool card, really, really good. Much more exciting than something like Gustwave. Then we have this one, which I personally am very excited about, again, because I am really excited to see how Ausilio plays, as well as play Ausilio. We have seen Ausilio's specialization. This is Sigil of Brilliance. This is a Lightning Wizard instant aura. That is a yellow that costs 0, and once again, it's a specialization. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy this, and then when this leaves the arena, draw a card. And it counts as a lightning card that you've played. It's an aura with Sigil in its name. This is like the perfect card. And as far as we can tell right now, because they have it listed as a promo, but I would have to imagine this is a Majestic, right? Yeah?
Yeah, I have the listing of it as a Majestic on February. Yeah.
Excellent. Because yeah, if this was like a Legendary, if this was something similar to, what's Bolton's necklace? Spirit of Irina.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was similar to like Spirit of Irina, I think this card, like as a one-shot effect, you still absolutely run it. It's insane. It's just a little bit swingy about whether or not you get it. But if you're able to play 3 of this card,
you get 3. Yeah,
this card's crazy.
Yeah, you get 3.
This card does everything Ausilio wants to do. Yeah, it bumps up the amp that you're able to do. It's a sigil, so it makes your your staff free. Yeah, I think this card is nutso bananas insane.
This is
just like if you go second, you play it on your opponent's turn, and then you draw up at the start of your turn, and you have a 6-card hand or whatever, or I guess 5-card hand.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal 6-card hand because you'll have
If you go second and you draw 3 of these, you can have a 7-card hand on your first turn of the game.
Yeah, this card is the kind of card that kills you, but you don't realize that it kills you until your opponent has a 7-card hand. You know, this is. Oh. Yep. This card's dumb.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Pretty sick.
Yeah. Yeah, it is one of those cards though that like it is so perfect for Ausilio and so obvious that it is good that like that's kind of all we need to say about it. This card is literally made to be Ausilio's specialization.
I mean, it's a specialization, and unlike something like Lexi's specialization, like this one you run in like 100% of Ausilio decks, like for all time. Yeah,
you just jam it. There's like basically no opportunity cost to playing this card.
There's literally no reason you shouldn't run it, I guess, unless you're doing some weird meme thing or something. There's no, unless you're doing like Talishar Ausilio or something, because that's probably going to happen at some point. Because everyone likes jamming Talishar in with heroes that it doesn't deserve to be used with.
It's funny,
but yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, card's really good. I think that's just what it is. So let's move on to the final 2. We have actually let's kick these off to because I've read the first 3. Let's kick this one over to Az. Az, can you read Electrostatic Discharge for us?
Yeah, definitely. So this one comes in all colors, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yep. 3, 2, 1 for blue, red, and yellow.
Yep, nice.
Not in that order.
We've got the red one in the Discord here. So this is a 0-cost lightning instant. So at red, it says the next attack action card you play this turn with cost 1 or less gets +3. And then obviously for yellow it's +2, and for blue it's +1. This is it's pretty cool, similar to other cards we've seen in the past. Like what was the one you said earlier? Lightning Press.
Yeah, it's like Lightning Press.
Similar to that, but obviously Lightning Press, I believe, blocks because it's a reaction. Whereas this is
Lightning Press is also an instant.
Also a lightning instant.
Well, so it doesn't block either.
Yeah, this card's weird. This card's a weird one because it's very close to Lightning Press, but not quite.
Yeah,
it's like worse in like every way, I think, right? Because like Lightning Press will give a +3 at any time you want. Also the same cost, also a lightning instant. So the only difference is this one has the timing restriction. It says the next attack action card you play gets the +3.
That's right. Yeah.
Whereas the lightning press is just like gives it at instant speed. Attack. Yeah. So like okay, I think I've come up with a case where it's not strictly better in an attack that cares about its power when it attacks. That's the corner case I can see here, because this says the next attack action card you play this turn with cost 1 or less gets the +3, and so it'll have that +3 when it attacks, right, Bill? Is that how the timing works with this kind of stuff in Flesh and Blood?
I believe so, yeah.
Whereas Lightning Press, you wouldn't be able to do that because you have to play the attack and then pump the attack after it's been played. So
yeah, because with press, you're targeting an attack that I think you technically can target attacks that have already resolved, because the precedent that I'm going off of for that one is that you can still banish cards off of Cyclone Roundhouse from like old combat chains. I think like technically you could lightning press an old attack, but it doesn't do anything to the damage because damage has already been calculated. Yeah. So you would have to play it on an attack that has specifically not dealt damage yet. Whereas for this one, you play it and it's the next attack. So it would have to be, if you're playing it within a combat chain, the way that you start a combat chain is by attacking, or if it's within a chain link, sorry. The chain link has been opened because the attack is attacking, and you've already missed the timing at that point to give your next attack something because you've already attacked, or at least you've missed the timing to give the buff to that attack with the wording "your next attack gains."
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
So I think that and Lexi are the only like corner cases where this is like could matter and be a little bit better, because this card from your arsenal is a little bit safe. It's a little bit safer to arsenal this card with Lexi is what I'm trying to get at, because if you arsenal lightning press, and I've done this and it could be really bad, if you arsenal your lightning press and then don't use it immediately, then you're stuck with a lightning press in your arsenal and you have to have a target to get it out of your arsenal. You can't just play it with no target, so you have to either pump up one of your attacks or pump up one of your opponent's things just to clear arsenal. Whereas this one you can just kind of free play it, right? Because it just says the next one. Yeah,
it doesn't need to have a target.
But you lose the surprise factor, which is kind of like the best part of Lightning Press, because it's just a free like +3, so you can just kind of like get them. This is not a get them card. This is just a pump, like pre-pump card, like an Azalea kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of Azalea, this actually hates on Azalea as well, because this is an instant, so this doesn't need an action point. So if you're under red in the ledger, and you
that's true. That's true.
you play 3 electrostatic discharges and then attack with a 0 cost attack or whatever, you're still going to be hit for whatever buff you've done, because of the fact this is an instant and not an action point. So this card is actually a debuff or a debuff to Azalea, because if Runeblade's able to use this, which of course it will be able to because it's a lightning card, then red in the ledger won't work with this particular card. If there are other cards as well, which I imagine there probably will be, if you want to charge up and then attack, there's probably going to be some lightning Runeblade stuff that says when you attack, if you've done something before this does an extra thing. This sort of could fall into that space as well. So because there's a couple of lightning flow cards, there's going to be more lightning flow cards. Lightning flow cards say if you've played a lightning card this turn, this does this, and then so that could cascade into if you've played a lightning card this turn, this gets when this attacks, do something, which then sort of feeds into what this wants to do. So, but we'll see. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Of course, you can do extra things with it, with Auxilio, and discard it to draw cards, and I think you can make embodiments of lightning with Aurora's ability if you played a lightning card this turn, instant speed. So there's loads of other things you can do with it.
If you care about limited, this also might be a lightning deck role player, because this is a common, so you'll likely see this quite often.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a shame it can't buff up. It's a shame it can't buff up weapons. It's just action cards.
I mean, they definitely could have templated it to do so, because it's like a pre-buff. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't. Yeah,
exactly.
Maybe they just wanted it to be only attack actions, I guess.
But then it turns the Starfall on, because it says if you played a lightning card this turn, this card's attacks get +1 and go again. So you could still play this, attack with Starfall, and then follow up with another card with the electrostatic discharge, still waiting to pump it. So there's always that as well, which is interesting. But yeah, we'll see when more cards come out, because we haven't really seen too much power stuff from Lightning Runeblade yet. We've seen the Aurora Precon, which hints at what we might get.
Well,
Lightning Flow.
We saw the First Strike Precon, which is like even more of a new player.
Or down.
Yeah, I didn't want to say watered down, but yeah, watered down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, for the art, I mentioned this before we started recording, but what do those mushrooms ever do to the lightning? Like, what the hell, man? Like,
yeah, those Aria mushrooms just.
Or are the mushrooms the ones shooting the lightning? Or is someone blasting the mushrooms, or the mushrooms blasting other people, like the POV? Like, are you getting blasted by the mushrooms, or are you the one blasting the mushrooms? Either way, you're avoiding this poor little elk who's just kind of like, what the hell, bro?
I think in the art, I think the elk is actually turning as if the lightning came from behind it as well. So I think maybe the mushrooms are the ones firing the lightning here, because the elk's just like, oh, what's that? Like looking behind itself to figure out what's going on here. So the mushrooms could be the perpetrators in this particular art piece.
So in the flavor of Flesh and Blood, as one of the combatants on the battlefield, are you channeling the lightning? Are you channeling the power of lightning mushrooms? Is that what this is? Like,
that is what
I spent my time in the Aryan forests to learn the technique of the lightning mushrooms.
The lightning mushrooms, yeah, absolutely.
Dead Summer Art. We need a lore piece on the lightning mushrooms.
We do. Give us it now. But yeah, that's a cool card. Yeah,
it's interesting. Yeah.
I tried typing in Aria into Google, and then it came up with Ariana Grande.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, the word Aria is like it's like a type of song.
Yeah.
Like Aria of Sorrow from The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time.
But yeah, anyway, so we have one last card. This one is a Runeblade instant. Kel, why don't you tell us what Vaporize and Shock do?
Yes. Unfortunately, hold on. I'm gonna fix this in real time. So because this is a split card, it is formatted a little bit weirdly on my overlay. So we're just gonna kind of do it that way. And then there you go. Everyone can see it now. So this is a majestic card. So this is a majestic, one of those split cards, has the meld mechanic. So if are not familiar with this, this is a card that has two halves, and you can play either or both halves of the card. And so this one is Vaporize and Shock. Shock is like the lightning version. Almost all the ones we've seen so far, all the lightning versions have Shock attached to it. And so what Shock says, it's a 0 cost. Just says deal 1 arcane damage to any target. It's an instant and doesn't block. And then we have the Vaporize side of the card that says destroy any aura permanent with cost X or less, and or up to X aura tokens, where X is the total arcane damage you've dealt to opposing heroes this turn. And then the meld mechanic says meld, you may play one or both halves of this card. Each costs this card's cost, which is 0. So the way this card works is that you would stack the effects, where you do the shock effect first, and then you do the vaporize effect second. So then you're able to at least destroy something, I would imagine. It's a really interesting card, and actually one of the meld cards where I think the art pairs together really, really nicely. Like the shock side and the vaporize side looks like one happens right after the other, which is not true for all of them. So this looks really cool. It looks like a little shock, and then boom. Because like the vaporize side is like something exploding, and there's like this Boletarian knight from Demon Souls. He's about to get one shot by the boss or something. And it's a cool card. Definitely like a sideboard card. Probably pretty useful in the Rosetta Limited, because there's probably going to be a lot of auras and aura tokens to target with this card. And then outside of that, it's definitely like a meta call, whether or not you want to run this. If there's a lot of auras that you care about. There's been some pesky aura permanents over the years for Flesh and Blood, and this is kind of a way to help deal with that. It's what it does. Oh, it's yellow pitch too, I should mention. Not red, it's yellow. That's important.
Yeah, yellow pitch, obviously instant, so no blocks or anything, but this is an interesting discussion. So if you were to use this, so let's say Prism has an Arclight Sentinel established.
Yeah.
You play this and shock them for 1. Arclight Sentinel costs 6, doesn't it? Does it cost 6?
Yeah. It costs 6, so you would have to dealt them 6 damage, 6 arcane damage.
Yeah.
So you have to. I see. Okay, yes, it's not as good as I thought.
But
yeah,
what is kind of
still.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you off.
I was going to say you could still do that potentially if you could do 6 arcane damage. You could get rid of the Arclight Sentinel and then destroy 6 spectral shields or 6 things.
Actually, you could destroy 12 spectral shields because it would. Oh no, you have to deal. Wait. Where X is the total damage that's been dealt. So you actually have to deal the damage. So in that case, it really wouldn't help much with Ward because the Ward would just prevent it, and then you will not have dealt damage.
Wow.
So, but it will work with other things.
Yeah, it interacts kind of rough with specifically spectral shields, but this does destroy like Ponder, the other whatever. The blights, or I guess like blood rot pox and stuff like that. It'll also destroy rune chance in the mirror match. That's not irrelevant.
Yep, it's an aura. It'll destroy any of the embodiments, so that'll be going around the set. So lightning, or that's actually really funny. That's actually really, really funny. Blowing up their embodiment of lightning on their like before they are able to attack it and like pop it or something. Like I don't know. It just feels so rude. Like like
savage.
And at the end of my turn, I do this to blow up your embodiment of lightning. Go. Like I think that's just hilarious.
Neener.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. But there's a whole bunch of other auras too. There's like all of the channels, like there's the new like channel, the Millennium Tree, channel like Frigid, all of those are auras. I think some of the really annoying Icelander cards were also auras, even though she's not relevant now, who knows? We might see more ice stuff come back. Channel Lightning Valley is a 0 cost aura, so you can blow up your opponent's Lightning Valley. Thunderstep. So yeah, I think this like effect is like relevant. Like you're gonna have targets for this at some point, but it definitely is like a sideboard type card, right? It's all the
sigils are auras as well, so you can blow those up too.
Sigils? Oh yeah, they are. All of the new sigils.
Yeah, all the sigils
this is true.
You can be blown up by this also.
Yeah, I think that's why I think this card is going to be, even though it's a majestic, I think it will be a reasonable pick in limited, right? If you're drafting, like this is definitely a reasonable pick because there's going to be a lot of targets to hit, not just their embodiment of lightning to be rude. I think you'll have legit targets.
Yeah, this is something you crack your Sanctuary of Aria on to prevent this damage because it's going to blow up your embodiments and stuff, isn't it? Because you start the game with a Sanctuary of Aria and play, don't you? So you can pay 2 to prevent 1 damage that will be dealt to you by a source of your choice. So this could be a good time to cash that in.
I also want to mention that this is kind of like you can like really get in with this card because it says destroy an aura permanent with cost X or less or up to X aura tokens, where X is the total damage. So like you can actually blow up like something big and then a whole bunch of tiny little aura tokens too, because it lets you blow up something big and up to X aura tokens. So like, yeah, like you can kind of like really get them if they have a bunch of tokens.
Fun times.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It's an interesting card. I think it's a little bit better than a Disenchant, which is kind of what it looks like at face value.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Definitely an interesting card. Yeah, I think it's going to be more relevant. I think it's less relevant against illusionists in general, as we sort of mentioned, because it is going to be pretty tough to deal 6 damage through Ward in order to blow up your opponent's Arclight Sentinel. So just have to figure something out to do that. But it'll be really good against mirror matches, potentially as like a sideboard option. I think it's pretty good. It has a lot of it has a lot of flexibility potentially.
This card is just a really, I keep saying rude, but it's just a really rude card. Like if your opponent's like, they're like, all right, I'm gonna play my Tome of Frailty or Codex of Frailty, and then I'll give you a Frailty, and I'll get my Ponder, and you can be like, okay, well, I deal 1 arcane damage to you, and then I shock you and blow up both of them, or whatever, you know? It's like, I don't know, like, it's a card where you can just kind of be like, nah, you don't get to draw another card, or like, nah, you don't get that little effect. And then
you can blow up any aura tokens, can't you?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be your opponents.
Yeah,
You
just
have to
any.
dealt damage. Yeah.
Nice. So like, I don't know, like maybe in like Acilio, this is kind of like a more main deckable card because of his hero ability, right? I mean, his hero ability is kind of cracked just because of it allows you to have like this low cost of inclusion. Because his hero ability is, once again, it's just once per turn instant, discard an instant, draw a card. And so if you have like this card, which is an instant, you can always just like, I don't need it, discard it, draw something else. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
So maybe not just a sideboard card, maybe it's more It feels more a sideboard for the Runeblade for sure, though. But anyway.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, it is a Runeblade card. I lied. You cannot run this in Acilio. I take that back. I just realized one half is a lightning instant, the other half is a Runeblade instant. So you can't actually run this in Acilio because one half is a Runeblade instant. So I take that back. Only for Aurora. So sorry about that.
Yeah. It happens. I mean, I was talking about Betsy's hat, playing it in literally any other deck when we were talking about it.
That'd be good. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, it would be extremely good.
I mean,
but
everybody wants to have a good time, Chapeau.
Yes, good time, Chapeau. I think that's just kind of important to note for these meld cards, though, when you're playing and like building decks, or like more importantly for like your pre-release. If you're going to the pre-release, like keep in mind that even though half of it's a lightning instant, you have to pay attention to both halves of it. There are versions that are just lightning, like I just pulled up. Oh no, this one's not just lightning either. There's Null and Shock, which has a wizard side. Is there one that's just lightning? No, that's no. I'm sure there's probably some versions that you can run in either build.
Yeah, it probably will be. Yeah, maybe they're just showing off the hybrids at the moment, but we will see.
Yeah. Well, there's not any that I can find yet, but there might be. There might be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, that'll do it for the spoilers. And as far as I know, that's all that we really had. I know that Az said that he mentioned that he has an Arsenal step, which is great. But outside of Flesh and Blood stuff, I think that does it for us for this week, unless I'm missing something or forgetting.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
I do think that's it. I kind of want to guess what Az's Arsenal step is. I have an idea what it is. If it's what you posted on Twitter.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I...
Well, yeah, let's kick it over to Az then. What do you got for us?
Can I guess?
What is it, yeah.
So on Az's Twitter, by the way, if you want to go follow him on Twitter, it's right there. We can follow him right there. He posted about going to like a Games Workshop store and then mentioning that he and some buddies want to get into Age of Sigmar. So is it Age of Sigmar?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay, go for it, man. Because I have a history with Age of Sigmar, so I'll tell you after you tell me.
Yeah, so we went in there, and one of my mates who lives in Bristol, which is one of the big cities in the UK, very student heavy place, university student place. He lives there, and he's recently been getting into it. He's collecting the Cities of Sigmar, which I think is just a collection of human-esque people. Yeah, I don't know the full sort of backstory and lore and army makeup right now, but,
I mean, you got like 10 hours to sit down because that's what it's gonna take.
But yeah, he was getting into it, and he knows someone in the shops. He was like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna pop in here, lads, if that's all right." I was like, "Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll just go in." And I've had some experience with Warhammer in the past, like back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I played the old fantasy.
Oh,
yeah.
That's the best. That's the best shit.
Yeah, that was really fun when I was playing that, and I used to play Chaos.
Hell yeah.
The Legions of Khorne. I used to play like the Bloodletters and the Bloodthirsters and stuff. but I also played Lizard Men as well. So yeah, I'm going to be getting into the Seraphon army, which is Lizard Men, Lizard Folk army from Age of Sigmar, and I'm going to be there's a 4th edition out now as well. So we timed it fairly well because there's a new rule book which I bought recently when I was there. I also bought the army packs that you get. You get like a set of cards that have all of your warband on them, so you can see all of their stats. You can get the app and stuff, but I just thought I'd buy the cards because it's more tactile. I like to have everything in front of me.
The cards, just when you're actually playing, I haven't played a ton, but I found having the cards really useful because you can lay them out like on the table to see what all your abilities are, rather than flipping through the stupid app trying to figure out what your stuff is. So
yeah, exactly. So I got the rule book and I got the cards for the army. So I'm just going to be getting I think it's called a Spearhead or Vanguard box, which comes with like 750 points worth of army. So me and my mates are going to be starting off by just getting one of those each, then assembling and painting them all. Obviously, the painting is going to be very, very hit and miss to begin with. Haven't done that since I was younger. But yeah, I'm going to be getting into it to a certain degree, not too seriously. Just going to be me and my mates for now, and then if we meet any other people along the way, then great. I'm not going to be doing it like content or anything. It's just going to be like a little thing that we do. But apart from that, that's pretty much it. I'm going to be doing some of that soon. So people that follow me on various platforms, you might see me painting some rubbish miniatures to begin with, and maybe seeing skill evolve over time. But they're going to be pretty haphazard to begin with.
You should look up the slap chop method, and that's a method where you like prime your minis with like this black primer, and then you do kind of this pass over, and then you kind of add the details afterwards, and it ends up looking like really nice. Not like the best quality, but like still like, you know, pretty nice, and it's really quick. Yeah. Because like when I was really getting into 40K like last year or the year before, I went deep into it and did a lot of research, and I found like as a noob that felt like the best strategy to paint.
Yeah. That's what I did. I sprayed all the sprue, like back when I was younger. I used to spray all the sprues before cutting them out. Even used to spray paint them all black, and then I used to obviously punch them out and then start doing the details on them, like little washes, like with the gunmetal paint to make it like all rusty looking and stuff. So yeah, I reckon I've got a good enough artistic ability to make them playable, or at least look okay to a certain degree, with just between me and my mates to begin with. Because I know you have to have some degree of skill if you're going to register it in a tournament or whatever. It needs to be fully painted to a certain
it's called like battle ready or something like that. It needs to be like at least a little painted. Like it can be crap. Yeah. Like you can be like terrible at it, but it still needs to be like, it can't be like naked, right?
It can't be grey plastic. Yeah. But apart from that, yeah, it was just like a lads Bristol weekend, and this sort of shit always happens. Just like, oh yeah, you get into this, because we ended up playing a game which Bill raves on about, Vampire Survivors. We ended up we ended up playing that for like 3 hours straight. I've never played it before, and we just played it for like 3 hours. Like all three of us were just playing it for 3 hours, and it is addictive. I now have it on my phone as well. So it's just one of those games that you just load up, and then before you know it, you've done like 3 runs, trying to survive as long as possible. And it's still there's still a lot of deep strategy into it, and I've only very much scratched the surface because I'm only using like the first person you have access to, which is the bloke that whips things in close combat, and then you upgrade him with like garlic and stuff. That's the main thing I always go for, is the garlic. All the bats just run into you and just die immediately. But yeah, I'm very much scratching the surface with Vampire Survivors, and I'm very much looking for other suggestions for games like that, if you know of any.
There's a bunch of games like that out now.
20 Minutes Till Dawn is good.
Oh, is that the one that has like the different guns that you can get? Yeah. And it's more like anime style. I'm pretty sure I have that on Steam, and I think it's the one that I like the most. If it's the one that I'm thinking of.
Yeah. I think you had suggested that one, and I put some good amount of time in that one. It's really good. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Is that sorry?
20 minutes till dawn.
Yeah, it feels a little more active, like it's just a little bit more active than Vampire Survivors, and a little bit like quicker. Like it doesn't feel as slow at the start, which I appreciate. For my arsenal, since as mentioned, Age of Sigmar, I want to talk about Age of Sigmar for like a minute.
Yeah.
So I've had it down here for a very long time. For folks who follow all my stuff, knows that I made like a very short-lived Warhammer channel like a couple years ago where I talked about Warhammer 40k and kind of getting into it. But before that, I've actually been really, really into Warhammer Fantasy for like a big part of my life. I played all of like the game, like a lot of the games that came out. There's like the RTS games and all that kind of stuff. But I also played a lot of the Warhammer MMO, Age of Reckoning. But when they made a TCG, I kind of went into it, and I was actually one of the exemplars, which is like one of the content creators who got like spoilers and stuff. So here is my Age. Oh, it's really hard to see. Oh, you can see it. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Warhammer Age of Sigmar Champions Founders Kit, and it's just kind of like.
Oh yeah.
It's just kind of like down here, and so.
Nice.
I played a lot of the other video games too, so I've always wanted to get into Age of Sigmar like in the minis, but I never like quite pulled the trigger. Though I do have like my preference and my favorite factions. So Death is a good one with Nagash. Like I would definitely get like a Nagash mini. If you don't know who Nagash is, go look him up. He's ridiculous and awesome. He's a big undead skeleton man with a giant Egyptian Pope hat is the best way I can describe it. And then Stormcast.
Is he a Tomb King then? That bloke.
Nagash is like the leader. He's like the leader of the faction. I don't remember exactly his like unit stats or whatever.
Because back in the day, back in the day of Warhammer Old Fantasy. Won't try not to go on too long about this, but there was an actual army called the Tomb Kings, which were basically just like a bunch of undead skeletons that are riding like chariots and stuff, like influence from ancient Egypt. Almost.
So without getting too much into the lore, it's the same Nagash. So like Nagash is one of the few characters that like I'm pretty sure is from both Age of Sigmar and from Warhammer Fantasy. In case people don't know, the long and short of it is Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar are still the same kind of universe, but there was kind of like this apocalypse that happened, and then now it's Age of Sigmar, and it's this weird like interplanar, almost spacey kind of thing, where there's different realms and there's each things from the different realms and stuff. So I have a lot of people have a lot of criticisms between the two. I personally like Fantasy more. But I still like Age of Sigmar, and so I like Death as a faction, and then I like Greenskins. So you got your orc boys, orcs and goblins. Those are great. And then my other one is like it's pretty basic, but I also like the Stormcast. So Stormcast are like basically the Space Marine versions. They wear like golden armor. And then demons
my mate's gonna collect.
Yeah,
my mate's gonna collect those ones, the Stormcast, because they got like Drake riders and stuff, and he really likes the men on the dragons, basically. They're almost like celestial beings, aren't they? I think.
Yeah, more or less. They're like fantasy versions of Space Marines, basically. If you like the dudes riding dragons, Archaon, which is like the leader of like the demon factions, is like this awesome looking knight with like these flaming weapons on top of like a monster dragon mount thing. His mini is huge. So he's very cool. But yeah, my thing is I really like the games, but one, I don't really know how to paint these things. And then two, like I just don't know anyone to play with. So that's the biggest thing for me. I kind of went deep into 40k, and I have a whole like Adeptus Sororitas, or like the Sisters of Battle. I have a whole like army, but they're not made. They're just kind of like in a big pile. I think people call them like a pile of shame. So I have a big pile of shame, and I've thought about just being like hiring someone to make them for me, because people do that. But
they do, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Maybe I'll just pull the trigger sometime and be like, here, build all these for me, please. Here's some money. I don't know.
That's what my mate's going to do. That's what one of my mates is going to do. He's going to ask someone else to do it, paint all and build it all for him. He doesn't have the time to do it, but yeah, it should be fun nonetheless. Have some fun with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let us know how it goes, because I'm interested in Age of Sigmar, and like I said, it's one of those IPs that I've been interested in for a very long time. It's just never, get to a place where I can actually play the physical game. I have played a couple, but not with like my own armies or anything like that.
Yeah, we might film some videos and see how it goes. We'll see.
Dude,
all the gear, so why not just do some little skirmishes and just see what happens? But
I will say, some of the Warhammer, like both 40k and Age of Sigmar content creators out there they go real hard on the content creation. There's some channels out there that have really, really nice production quality, and I've watched a ton of them. So yeah, there's some good stuff out there. Yeah. And the Warhammer audience is huge, like way bigger than people would suspect. It's like actually quite popular. So
exactly, yeah. So we'll see where it goes, but looking forward to just trying something else out for a change. Although that being said, again, don't want to add too much on the end of this, because I think we've been going for a while already here. But it's amazing what you can do when you've got nothing to speak about, apparently. I was suggested something on YouTube recently, which was Baldur's Gate 3, relaxing forest ambience and music. So I clicked it, and I just heard that camp music. I can't really hum it, 'cause I can't think of what it is in my head. But it's when you're in the camp, and it's like a little tune. I was just like, fuck, I need to play this again now.
I need to finish it. So I played that game for almost 100 hours and I never finished it. I'm close to the end, I think. I'm in Baldur's Gate, but a thing happened and it stressed me out and I didn't know what to do, and then I never went back. And I won't spoil it too much just in case, but there's a part where one of your party members or someone can get taken from you, and that happened to me, and I really don't care about the party member. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But also at the same time, I'm a completionist, and I'm like, I don't know if I ignore this, if they're just gonna murder them, and I won't get to finish their storyline and stuff. And so I was just like, I don't know what to do, and I kind of don't want to look it up. And then I never went back. Never went back to it after 100 something hours. So maybe I'll just Google what to do and then continue on without any other spoilers.
Yeah, it's a weird one, because in my first playthrough, that's what happened to me. I as soon as I completed Shadowheart's storyline, one of the ways that she can go with it, after I did that, I was just like, the whole Baldur's Gate city thing was just like, what do I do now? Because there was so much stuff there, and I just didn't know where to start. And I just gave up. I ended up starting again, but on my second playthrough, that's the one I completed. I managed to complete in the end. So
I'm doing everything super meticulously, which is kind of why I kind of got decision paralysis, because I'm like, well, I don't. So I went down into the sewers of Baldur's Gate, and then this event triggered, and they're like, haha, we've kidnapped one of your dudes from your encampment, blah 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 blah. If you don't do this thing, then we're gonna murder them. And I'm like, well, damn it, I don't know if I kind of want to go explore these other things, but do I have to do this? And I was just like, I don't know what to do. Okay, then I never went back. So I think I'm just gonna probably go Google specifically this thing and see if I can if there's an actual time limit, or if the game just is telling me that, but I can still go do other things. Because like I said, I'm really exploring everything, and I try to do it progressionally. So I'm like, I explore everything and then explore everything, and so I don't miss anything. So I'll probably Google that and try to go back and finish it. My characters are very, very strong. My main character is a wizard, and there's this place in Baldur's Gate where there's a whole mission thing in there that also has to do with this. I don't want to spoil it too much. It kind of has part of Shadowheart's story and has part of this other story that's from Act 2, I think, that has this angelic character, and I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's this wizard dude who wants you to get her, and I definitely like double crossed him. I was like, yeah, I'll get her. And then I like brought her to him. And I'm like, here you go. Now we're going to kill you. And then we killed him because he's a douchebag. He's a
I killed him as well.
douchebag's trying to enslave this person. And I was like, yeah, how about just fireball you in the face a whole bunch and just kill you? He was actually a pretty tough fight, but also there's a secret vault in there that has like dank ass loot. So don't miss the secret vault.
Yeah. I never figured how to bloody find that place. I don't think. No, I never did. I never figured out how to do it.
Yeah, there's some on the platform where you fight the guy at the very top. You can actually like jump off the platform, and there's like stuff underneath it, and there's a whole like dungeon underneath it. Yeah.
See. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I should go back to that and finish it at some point.
Anything going on with you, Bill, before we close off today?
Not really. I guess the only cool thing that's going on is this weekend I'm going camping for the first time in a long time.
Nice.
Yeah, I haven't been in probably over maybe 15 years. But yeah, I think it'll be a good time. So
Are you
heading out with my girlfriend.
Are you going camping, or are you going the kind of camping where you have like you basically rent a wooden house and then you just kind of hang around for a little bit and sometimes go outside?
No, it is camping like in a tent and stuff, but it is like pretty comfortable still. It's like at a campsite instead of just like in the middle of nowhere. And I think there's electricity like hookups, not like a ton of them, but enough that you can like charge your phone and whatever.
By the way, no problem with what I wasn't passing judgment. There's no problem if you want to go glamping or whatever, go for it. It was a genuine question as to what the flavor of the trip is.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's this weekend for me, and I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a good time.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
As someone from Oregon, I am not unfamiliar with camping. And yeah, it's great. It can be great if you go with people who actually want to go. If you go with someone who just complains the whole time, then it sucks. But if you go with someone, and like the last time I can remember is like I went with some friends, kind of like lakeside, and then we just kind of like camped out. It was also in a similar. It was like a designated, camping area, and then we went like fishing and stuff. Yeah. I don't know.
Nice.
It's good to go touch grass sometimes.
Great for the exactly. The great outdoors is very much on your doorstep in Canada. So very lucky in that regard. All the lakes.
Yeah, we don't have to go very far.
No. Yeah. Exactly.
It's my to round off the episode. It's my favorite part about the Pacific Northwest is like how much nature, greenery. Looking outside and having like, your pine trees, mountains, all that kind of stuff is big for me. I wouldn't rather live anywhere else. So, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, that'll wrap it up for this week of the Living Legends podcast. Thank you both once again for hanging out and chatting some Flesh and Blood and some other stuff. And thank you, the listener or watcher at home, for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your support. If you are not already subscribed, one additional time, call to action. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to like, make sure to comment, because we will read your comments out next week and respond to them. And yeah, just as a final sign off, I've been Bill. I'm from the Spike Feeders. You can find me on social media at BillTSF. You can also find me on YouTube at the Spike Feeders Fab, where we do live edited gameplay content. So if that's something that intrigues or interests you, you should definitely go check it out. And let's switch it up from the earlier in the episode. Let's go alphabetical. Kick it over to Az.
Yeah, so I'm Az from Go Again Gaming. Again, the tag below is where you can find the social media platform that I'm the most active on, which is Twitter, aka X at the moment. I run a channel called Go Again Gaming, which is at the moment running a league, CC League, which is probably going to continue for season 3 as well. People are really enjoying it, so it's good to have sort of regular CC content on the channel. So go and sort of check that out when you can. Round 3s are going to be up soon, and there's some really good games on there. So make sure you go and check it out. And that's pretty much it, really. So I'll throw it over to Mr. Red Zone Rogue.
How's it going, everyone? I'll give my full breakdown since this is not on my channel anymore. My name is Kel, also known as Red Zone Rogue, and I'm a full-time trading card game content creator and shoutcaster. You can find me everywhere at Red Zone Rogue, and where I talk about a myriad of games. Currently, I've been doing a lot of stuff with games like Shadowverse Evolve, as well as like Grand Archive and other stuff, and I'm still occasionally doing Flesh and Blood stuff over on Red Zone Rogue, and just kind of unsure of where it stands currently. But if you want to hear me talk about trading card games, go ahead and follow me on YouTube and Twitter. And I think during my spiel, the internet is frozen, and our gentlemen here are also frozen. So you know what? We're gonna have a little bit of a chat here at the end while the gentlemen here are frozen until the internet comes back. You can go find me in all those places. And hey, sometimes I post memes on my or opinion pieces about the gaming industry. Okay, here we go. They're back. I don't have to keep vamping. The freezing is back. But I was saying, if you want memes and other opinion pieces about other TCGs, go follow me on Twitter. I'll post random stuff about a lot of random things. So, like, did you know they made multiple Toho Project card games, and I picked one up from Japan, and it's interesting and weird, and I posted about it. Anyway, there's that. So we can end now. Yay!
Hell yeah! All right. Well, yeah. Once again, thank you everybody for hanging out and for your support. Stay well, stay safe, and we'll catch you all next week.
Bye.
Working through the glitches again. Yeah, Abby.